Process and background. At the last review of the 30 series closures, there were around 3.2 million of these joints in the D-side access network. This equates to a 50-50 split of the resin and heat shrink port type closures. Resin joints were introduced during the 1970s and superseded by the heat shrink port closure during the 80s and 90s. If correctly fitted at the point of installation, these joints will continue to yield effective service so long as they are entered enclosed to the correct quality standard, as set out in the ISIS documentation number displayed on the screen. As part of any provision, repair or FVR activity, you must assess the existing joint to find the most effective uplift method. Does the joint need to be removed or replaced, or can the joint be effectively sealed using Dexbond resin sealant? If not, choose the most effective remake method. Use the pull-through method as the first option. Resin joints should only be removed as a last resort because of the difficulty in removing and replacing them. These short videos highlight the methods required to remove legacy joints within the OpenReach network. The aim is to provide insight to both current and new engineers expected to replace these cable joints under provision, repair, or fault volume reduction activity. This video covers pull-through method. Health and safety. Please note, the content shown in this video does not replace the mandatory training required to comply with BT's engineering policies, specifically around health and safety. It is intended as supplementary information or to serve as a reminder. BT's safety policy and mandatory training must be complied with and completed by all BT personnel and contractors. Some sequences in this video may have been shortened for ease of viewing. The pull-through method. Ideally for resin-filled joints, but can be used for heat shrink joints too. Once identified that a joint needs to be replaced, the pull-through method provides a key benefit in that it does not require the removal of the joint body or cables from the resin or heat shrink tubes, allowing a new joint to be constructed outside of the old joint closure. Please attempt to remake the joint to a quality standard using the Dexbond material that can be found in the OpenReach stores. Ensure sufficient cable slack exists on all of the cables entering the joint. If insufficient slack exists, then the joint must be removed as shown in the resin and port closure series of videos. For very short cable lengths, consideration should be given to the cable length renewal to allow the existing joint to be remade. Remove a section of the sheathing on each cable below the base of the existing joint, including the protective wraps and paper. This will allow the pairs to be remade outside of the existing joint and enclosed in a suitable universal clipped closure. For heat shrink closures, remove each cable sheath as close to the existing heat shrink sleeve as possible, removing foil and tape from the cables as they enter the joint to maximise the available cable length. Cut back the outer whippings. Now carefully untwist and unravel the pairs within the joint to make it easier to pull through the cable pairs during the next stage. With the cable sheath removed below the joint, gently pull on a pair from one of the cables. If it is not jointed, then it can be pulled straight out away from the existing joint. If it is jointed, look to see which associated pair it is connected in the joint body. Gently pull on the other cable pair to identify it in the cable below. Now gently pull both pairs away from the joint. You will see the crimped pairs moving towards the base of the existing joint. This pair can now be re-crimped using 11A no break crimps. Repeat for the next cable pair and complete until all of the pairs have been pulled through and re-crimped outside of the existing cable joint. Make sure that you re-crimp the joint one pair at a time. Spare cable pairs will simply pull through and can be neatly tied off in the new joint. Continue to work through all of the remaining pairs until the joint has been released and all pairs have been re-crimped outside of the joint body. Place all cables into the new universal clipped joint and close. The instructions for fitting the universal clipped joint can be found within the enclosure pack. Further guidance is available from the bookstall in ISIS documentation number displayed on the screen.